if you're intentionally killing civilians, you probably shouldn't beat your chest and brag about it. You know, maybe you can make the
I agree
case,
with that.
Maybe you make the case that we had to do it or whatever, but you should.
I agree.
You should weep, and that's evil, and you should just say it's evil. And I know it's really threatening to.
Is it evil, though?
Ben Shapiro to say that or whatever, but
Is it evil?
to kill civilians on purpose? Yeah, it is. I think it is.
Really?
Kids and children. Well, how is it not actually?
In a war?
Of course it is, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Piers Morgan, the self-proclaimed moral compass of journalism, has a disturbing habit of moving goalposts when it suits his narrative. One moment, he's the loudest voice condemning war crimes, and the next, he's bending over backwards to justify them, so long as the perpetrators align with his worldview. The hypocrisy is nauseating. If slaughtering innocent women and children is collateral damage, where do we draw the line? Because last I checked, murder is still murder, no matter who pulls the trigger. And Tucker Carlson? He's one of the few saying what should be obvious. This isn't war, it's an atrocity. But watch Piers twist and control the truth to maintain his illusion of moral superiority. Let's jump into it.
Well, you can call it whatever you want. How is it right to kill women and children?
I didn't say, well, because I think there is a moral right behind you if you are literally...
To kill women and children?
If there's a world war that threatens the entire... If it threatens the entire world? Yes.
Some people killed your kids, like your 8-year-old? Like,
well,
how
your
is
own
that
children,
morally justifiable?
Well, because actually you have to... Well, by your criteria...
It's disgusting.
Okay, so no war is morally justified.
I mean, I think it's pretty hard to justify. I mean, yeah, I'm
Any
sure,
war.
You know, a pure defensive action, sure. But all I'm saying, look, it's all ugly. It's all hard to stomach. I've actually seen some of it up close. Super ugly.
You can say that. You can say you hate it.
May I finish?
The fact you quibble with it being morally justified.
To intentionally kill non-combatants, women and children, I think we can say that's wrong. In fact, I thought that was the thing we were fighting against. And censorship and dictatorship, people ruling without being elected, people using force to get their will. Like, I thought that was the whole thing we were fighting against. So how about we don't become that? And I'm just saying all kinds of decisions are made under duress. I have made decisions under duress, foolishly, that I'm ashamed of, including supporting the Iraq War. But why are we defending it? I just don't understand that. And we're defending it, of course, because we're still doing it. And a lot of people are getting rich, and a lot of people find meaning in their otherwise barren lives. Rather than like raising decent children and having a productive life, making something, they exist to destroy. I just think that's evil.
But you think no military action is morally justifiable, then?
I didn't say that.
Aren't you implying that?
I'm not implying it. I never imply anything. I just say things.
It's the deaths of any innocent people.
Is for girls. I'm just telling you what I think.
If you kill any innocent people, civilians, in a war, you think it's all morally lacking in justification? Because I would argue against that.
Right. You're arguing against a construct that you created in order to argue against.
Not really.
I'm being super straightforward. If you're
Is there any form of warfare that's morally justified? Go on.
Let me finish. I'm saying when you intentionally kill women and children, when you wage war through fear by murdering the civilian population, I don't think that's a good thing. And I don't think you should be defending it. And I don't know why it's such a threat to say that out loud. If you're firebombing someone's city, as we did Tokyo, as you guys did Dresden, and a lot of other cities, by the way, in both of those countries, if you're dropping atomic weapons in the middle of town on a Catholic church, I don't know why you have to look back 80 years later and be like, that was a great thing. It wasn't a great thing. It was a shameful thing. And we should be better than that because we're not savages. Because we're Christians.
But I don't agree with you. I don't agree with it.
Okay, apparently you don't.
I don't.
You said right on camera it's okay to kill 8-year-olds because it's war.
No,
it's not okay to kill 8-year-olds.
I didn't say anything is okay. What I said is morally justified. Because when you have an enemy that is prepared to put 6 million Jews into gas chambers and murder 6 million more people, they are prepared to do anything, and you have to stop them. And then any response you give to me is morally justified.
Any response?
Well, pretty much. If you're taking the war to them to try and end the war and trying to defeat a nihilistic group like the Nazis, yes, it's morally
nihilistic. Says the guy who's defending the murder of 8-year-olds. They're nihilistic.
I'm not defending the murder of any 8-year-olds.
What you're doing is expressing a species of nihilism. The whole point is we are better than you because we have limits. There's some things I'm not going to rape your wife. I'm just not.
How do you stop?
Well, hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
I am not going to behave like an animal. You are. That's why we're at war. You bombed preemptively my Pacific Fleet in Pearl Harbor. We weren't even at war. Why'd you do that? That's outrageous. We're going to punish you for doing it. I get it. But we're not like
you. Not punish, defend.
Of course, not defending. There was no threat of invasion. If you're the United States, I mean, you live in a tiny island nation. I think there was a real
Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. That is a form of invasion, isn't it?
It was not an invasion. No. It was an attack.
It's a mass attack on
I'm not defending
America.
Pearl Harbor. I don't think Roosevelt should have let it happen, which he did.
But once it happened, what do?
You attack them back. I get it.
So you agree?
Okay, but hold on. There are finer distinctions here.
Well, not really. You'd attack them back.
Let me finish my fucking sentence.
Was it morally defensible to attack them back?
Stop. Okay. Yes, it was morally defensible to attack them back.
Thank you. Thank you. You agree with
But
me?
it depends what attack
You agree
means.
with me? You didn't qualify it.
Interviews like this,
You
where
didn't
do both
qualify it.
sides? This
You
is
didn't
like crazy. You're
You
like,
didn't qualify
now you
it.
say it's okay to molest children. Why do you say that? You're like, I didn't say that. No, no, you just said it's okay to molest children. Now, why would you be in favor of child molestation?
Nobody's talked about molesting children.
That's what you did.
You just said it was morally
Taking
justified for
both parts of the
America
dialogue. It's like hilarious. I've never seen
America.
anything
You
like
said
this.
America
I bet when
attacking
you have
after
dumb
Pearl
people
Harbor.
on, they end the interview and they're like, what just happened?
Actually, you'll be saying
He
that.
just told me what I believe, and then he attacked me for believing it. It's so hilarious. I love that. It's like a species of masturbation. Like, you don't need another person present.
Listen, don't knock masturbation.
I'm not.
It's making love to someone. It's making love to someone you love.
Okay, but let me just say, you don't ever want to wind up in a place where you're defending the killing of children. You just don't. Now, you go into any kind
That
of
wasn't what I was doing. I was saying there's moral
Well, it's very much what you were doing.
No,
You said it was morally justified to kill children.
I said morally
not.
morally justified to drop bombs which end a war. Yes, I do believe.
Can I
that.
ask you just, since we're still on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, hard to say you make the case for Nagasaki, but whatever. Why not, if you have this fantastic new weapon and you want to prevent, somehow you're required to invade Japan? Like, I don't know why we'd be required to invade Japan, by the way. Like, no one ever answers that
They
question.
just attacked you?
No, they attacked us 4 years earlier, and we've now beaten them and driven them out of the Philippines and Malaysia and all this stuff. We've won. Why do we have to invade mainland Japan? No one ever answers that question. We just kind of have to because we have to. Okay, I'm not second-guessing the military leadership of the Second World War, but I am second-guessing this. Why wouldn't you bomb just military installations? Why drop these bombs in the middle of a city when you know that overwhelmingly the incinerated people will be civilians? Like, why would you do that? I would not do that. I would say, I have the bomb, okay, we're going to drop it on, critical military infrastructure, arms manufacturing plants, on, a fleet. Why would you drop it on?
Because when the enemy is not making that calculation, you have to stop them.
Stop them from what? Not being invaded?
Stop them from killing your civilians, killing your people.
Japan, in the summer of 1945, was in no position to kill any American civilians, period. So I think they floated a couple firebombs over Oregon 3 years before. But the point is, look, I understand, people do their best under pressure. They make mistakes. I've made a million of them. I'm not judging even Harry Truman, who I do think was kind of a pig, but whatever. I'm not even judging. I maybe would have done the same thing. I'm just saying 80 years later, why defend that? Like, what's the point?
I think it was morally justified.
To kill 200,000 civilians?
Yeah.
So then we wouldn't have to invade, which we didn't have to anyway?
To save potentially millions of lives being killed, yes.
Of our invaders, of their country?
Of both sides, to bring an end to the war.
How about just not invade them?
They wouldn't surrender. You've got to bring the war to an end.
But they had lost. Why do you have to invade them?
They refused to surrender.
Okay, but we'd kicked them out of all of their colonies. We'd driven them back to their island.
You don't dispute dropping those bombs ended the war, do you?
Well, I am disputing it. That's what I'm doing right now.
It did end the war.
Oh, disputing that it ended the war. Sure, of course.
So the means and effect were correct.
I'm also not disputing that bringing down the Twin Towers changed the United States. Like, if you commit enough killing, you will change people's behavior, including getting them to surrender. My only question is it worth it? And what are you becoming when you participate in it?
Yeah, but I think
that's a meaningful question that nobody addresses.
Yes,
like,
but
who am I?
But
I'm a decent person. I'm an imperfect person. This is how Americans, I think, should think of themselves, and mostly do. But I'm also a representative of an enlightened country, product of an enlightened civilization called Western civilization. And there are certain things I will not do, even if they benefit me. I'm not doing that because I'm not that guy. I don't kill children. I don't rape women. I don't send women into battle to defend me, which I guess we now do. That's wrong.
So you would condemn what Israel's done in Gaza, for example?
I don't want to be involved in it.
I mean, nearly 20,000 children are said to have died.
I don't
You condemn it?
think that is a...
By your criteria, you condemn it?
don't-
Is it morally justified?
That is a calculation that Israel has to make. I don't want to have anything to do with that.
You have no view? No view?
It's hard to take a lecture from someone who just admitted that he hates Israel in every fiber of his body.
I never said.
You said that. You said that
Now
on
you're
camera.
distracting.
No, I'm not
Oh,
distracting.
yes, you are.
You're the one who said that.
You're now
And
distracting.
You said, I hate Benjamin Netanyahu.
No, I didn't. I said I don't think you should be leader anymore.
You hate him. You
Shouldn't
with
be
an
leader.
irrational hatred that, I don't know where it comes from. I can't account for what's in your soul. I don't have an X-ray. into what's deep inside you, but all you said was, I hate
I
this.
have no problem saying that I think Israel's response has gone way too far. Way too many civilians have been killed.
I
What I'm
think
surprised about is that you, having lectured me
Right.
about the deaths of
I have
8-year-olds,
said-
you don't want to morally condemn what Israel's done in
What I
Gaza.
wanna
I'm curious
do-
as to why.
what I wanna
Are your
do-
criteria?
Yeah. My criteria apply solely, and this is a thread of consistency throughout my arguments here and everywhere for the last 20 years. They have to do with the behavior of the United States, which is my country. And it's been my family's country for hundreds of years. I pay my full taxes. I feel very vested. I'm a shareholder in my country. So its behavior matters greatly to me. I'm implicated in its behavior. And I don't want the United States to participate in things that are counter to its interests or counter to the values of Western civilization. That's really simple. So other countries do all kinds of abominable things, including cannibalism, a lot, actually, and human sacrifice, a lot, actually. And, you know, okay, they're not my country. So I don't want the United States involved in anything that's morally indefensible or counter to its own interests. Period.
So Israel's dropping
Anywhere.
American bombs on Gaza, killing lots of children.
In
you think,
order to
you think the deaths of...
I'll tell you what I think.
Hang on.
Don't
you
tell
think
me what I
you
think.
think the killing of you think the killing of
Let me tell
civilians is
you what I
morally
think.
indefensible?
Let me tell you what I think.
So American bombs are being used to kill a lot of children and women in Gaza.
I hate that.
Is it morally?
Let me tell you
Is
what
it morally
I'm
indefensible?
not gonna-
Now you don't want to say?
I'm in the process of telling you.
Go on then.
Stand back, let the flower bloom. Okay? Stop tending the garden, Piers. I hate the fact that civilians are killed with American weapons. I hate it. I hate it in Ukraine. I hate it in Gaza. I hate it in the occupied territories,
As do I.
wherever we're calling them these days. I think in the specific case of Israel, we have been closely allied with the Israeli government, you know, since the 1950s. We're actually instrumental in the creation of Israel, so since the late 40s. And I think that there are times when our interests have aligned, and there are times, the transfer of military technology to China being one of them, where those interests diverge. I would very much appreciate an environment in the United States where Americans could speak openly about what their money is doing in a bunch of different foreign countries, including that one. And I think that we should reassess all our relationships, all our alliances with our allies on the basis of whether or not it's good for the United States on a bunch of different levels, economically, whether it's good for our internal politics, whether it's good for, you know, our power abroad, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, more than, you know, I really think that we need a much more honest conversation about our relationship with Israel. And I feel, if I can just say one thing and brag, I feel like I'm one of the only people in the United States who's not emotional on the topic. Everyone's so emotional about it. They hate Israel. They love Israel. It's like, I'm American, okay? I like Israel. I don't love any country other than my own. And I think we should have a rational conversation about this. And at this point, as you well know, we don't. So that's my actual position.
Yeah, I mean, look, for what it's worth, my position is Israel had a fundamental duty, not just a right, but a duty to defend its people after October the 7th, given the horrendous scale of that attack. And my only question I kept asking repeatedly from about the first couple of weeks onwards was, what is a proportionate response? What is morally justified?
In general, your relationships with your neighbors are your problem. In my home, my neighbors, I own my house. I can't leave easily.
But it's also an American problem because American military is being used.
No, but you make
American
calculations about your behavior based on what you can achieve, based on what you think your interests are, and that's true at the homeowner level and it's true at the nation level. So you deal with your neighbors, and that's your problem. And if you're in a fight with your neighbors, it's up to you to resolve it. It's not my problem. I do not have to resolve your disputes with your neighbors. And that is true of Ukraine, and it's true of Israel.
And there you have it, folks. Piers Morgan, master of mental gymnastics, twisting logics into a pretzel to defend the indefensible. 1 minute, he's sobbing over the horrors of war. The next, he's accusing them as necessary evils. As long as the right side is doing the bombing, you can't have it both ways. Piers, either the mass killing of civilians is wrong, or it's not. Tucker Carlson, love him or hate him, is at least consistent. Murdering innocent people is never justified, no matter how fancy the political spin. But Piers, he's like a weather vane in a hurricane, pointing whichever direction gets him the most clicks. At this point, he's less of a journalist and more of a human embodiment of a buffering wheel, constantly loading but never making sense. Maybe one day he'll wake up and realize he can't selectively apply morality. But until then, we'll be here calling out his double standards, one contradiction at a time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and comment down below. Until then, we'll catch you in the next one.